I wonder, do you say yes when your heart says no? Or equally, do you say no when your heart's saying yes? The first one's totally been my experience, and it was really interesting the other week because I shared it with a client when we were voice memoing back and forth. And I shared my experience, and then interestingly, he had the opposite. So whereas I've said yes when my heart said no, he's often said no when his heart said yes. So I want to share both and see which one resonates for you. It's a perfect example of not being aligned with ourselves and instead being aligned with somebody else's idea or another idea that we have about the thing, which isn't really what our heart cares about. So if I start with my example, the thing that I've seen that I've often done, and I seem to have broken the chain. I've had a number of examples this year when I have said yes or no in alignment with my heart rather than trying to do the thing that somebody else thinks is right. So what I've done historically is when my heart's been saying no, my mind's been saying yes. So it's often come up in relation to work. If there's been an opportunity that my heart's saying, no, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel aligned. This doesn't feel like our work to do. But my mind has told me stories like, oh, yes, you should do this thing. This looks impressive. This looks like it's going to be a long-term project. So you're going to have some security of longevity. It's got good money, so you should do it. Look at who you get to work with. That's great for your kudos, for your reputation. Meanwhile, my heart's sitting there going, nope, 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 this is not aligned. This is not aligned. This is not aligned. And then what I find with these pieces of work is I move into them and I kind of already know the minute I'm in the work, it's like, yeah, this isn't aligned. This isn't feeling right. There's something off here. Really, in truth, it's me. It's me that's off. But I'm like looking at the situation going, yeah, this isn't quite how I would do it or how I want it to be or how I think it could be. But because I've gone into it for the wrong reasons, there's no heart behind it. And and I'm now stuck. I'm now like, oh, well, I see these problems, but should I call them out? Because given the mind story, look at all the kudos, look at the money, look at the security of the project, look at whatever other thing that the mind thinks is important to chase fundamentally, get that, then you'll be okay. Given that's the motivation that I'd started these pieces of work from, it's meant then that in the work there's not the ability in me to actually call things out or say what I think because the mind's going, no, 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 keep quiet. Because if you say that thing, they might chuck you off the project. They might not want you anymore. They might never speak to you again. And so, yeah, you're right. I best keep quiet. I best not call that thing out. And so I go along thinking, well, maybe somebody else will notice. Maybe somebody else will give that feedback. Maybe somebody else will pick up on this problem, which isn't actually working for me, for them, for the wider context. Perhaps, perhaps it'll just get a bit worse and then somebody else will spot it. Perhaps if I make this subtle suggestion here, or this quiet piece of feedback here, maybe then somebody will pick up on it. So it's all this like tiptoeing around, this careful, vigilant, best be careful because remember all that stuff that the mind said we're doing this for. So I'd best be careful or else all that stuff will disappear in a cloud of smoke. No money, no security, no kudos, no reputation. best, best keep the lid on it all. Or just very quietly around the edges share what I think rather than being upfront and direct. Because upfront and direct would risk all the stuff being lost. It's not healthy. And you know what? It's never worked out well. It's never ended in successful work. It's led to projects finishing prematurely. It's led to people in the organization being unhappy with the work. It's led to me not feeling fulfilled by it because it's not really my work to do. Therefore, I'm not doing my best work. I'm not doing what I'm best suited for. And therefore, the client's not getting the best outcome. So then nobody's winning because I'm not doing my best work. I'm not loving it. They're not getting me at my best. Nobody's getting a great outcome. And plus, as I say, it's never ended well. It's never ended with people going, yay, this has been amazing. We must do it again. It's always ended up fizzling and dying and ending in various different ways that haven't felt fulfilling. They've ended respectfully, they've absolutely ended with respect and with ongoing relationships. None of them's ever been so horrendous that you know relationships are done forever, but they've never felt right. It's never felt right because my heart was never in it from the very beginning. My heart was saying no, and I wasn't listening. I was listening to the mind and all the stuff that we've been taught we should get more of in order to be happy and fulfilled. And it's rubbish. It's absolute rubbish. I've tested it many times. And so, hurrah, at last, thanks to excavation of all the ideas and beliefs about what I need in order to be okay, I am now able to listen to my heart and go towards what lights me up and say a loving no to stuff that isn't for me. There's nothing wrong with that. It's all about alignment. It's all about me being here to be my unique expression. And if I'm not the right person for them, then there'll be somebody else who's perfect. It's not for me to do everything for everyone. It's not for you to do everything for everyone. And so it was really interesting when I shared this with my client, as I say, and he'd actually had the opposite experience, where he would find that his heart was saying yes, but his mind would say no. Don't do that. Don't take that project. Don't do that thing. And so whereas my subtle messages were like, oh, hopefully, fingers crossed, somebody else will spot the problems I'm spotting. His version was, oh, fingers crossed, hopefully somebody else will convince me, cajole me, tell me that I really should do this work. Somebody else will encourage me into it. They'll see the potential in me and they'll want me to come forward for it and they'll say, yes, come and do this thing. And I'll reluctantly agree. Oh, okay, then, okay. And then in that being the setup, it gives a brilliant excuse and get out clause because then, because of that, the way it's been entered into, it means that if it doesn't work out, the mind's comfortable that it's got an excuse and it can say, oh, well, yes, I never wanted to do it anyway. They convinced me. Whereas all the while, the heart was actually saying no. Sorry, the heart was saying yes. The heart was saying yes. And it was the fear of going towards it because of all the collected stuff that was clouding that and saying, no, 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 don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. And it looked like the only possibility of it being a yes was if I was convinced to go. Then I'd be forced into it. Then I'd have to do it. And then I would have the excuse to say, well, it was their fault. They made me. Oh gosh, do you remember that in childhood? It was their fault. They made me do it. It's that, isn't it? That's all we're doing all the time when we're playing through these narratives. We are playing out our childhood stories. So it makes absolute sense that that would be the case. So yeah, so that was his version of misalignment with the heart's message. The heart really wanted him to do it. And his mind was saying, no, 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 dangerous, keep away. Whereas mine, the heart was saying no. And the mind was saying, yeah, go for it. Look at all this stuff you could get. Neither in alignment, neither with a good feeling. neither with clarity, with conviction, and so neither leading to good outcomes, neither feeling good for, at the very least, us as individuals, let alone the ripple effects that might happen from it. So such a beautiful and a perfect, I'm always talking about how perfect everything is. If it wasn't for those experiences, we wouldn't get to learn about misalignment and alignment. We wouldn't get to learn from the mistakes, not really mistakes. We wouldn't get to learn from those experiences in order to refine our tuning system, in order to refine our navigation system, in order to really, really tune into what the heart wants and to really, really disidentify from what the mind thinks we should do or shouldn't do. It's all perfect. Without that happening, we wouldn't get the lessons, we wouldn't get the experience, and we wouldn't then so much love the alternative. As we align and align and align, then the associated enjoyment and fulfillment that comes with that means that we get to more fully appreciate that, in contrast to the misalignment we've felt before. So I'd love to know if this is your experience, if you've been saying yeses when your heart's been saying no, like me, or whether you've been saying no's when your heart's been saying yes, like my client. I'd love to hear if that's your experience. And if you want to be more aligned in your own yeses and nos, my experience, the only way is by dropping all those layers of confusion, disidentifying from all the stuff in our system at every level of our system that's telling us we should do things in a certain way for a certain reason, which keep us out of alignment with the truth of our natural, unique expression. If you want that, come to the Enlightenment event for the whole 9 months. If you want the full, deep dive, immersive, complete journey, drop in for the months you want. If you feel you've got some of those bits nailed and you've got some deeper bits to go to in other areas, then do that. I would so love to see you here, because I would love for you to be expressing your aligned yeses and nos and no longer being in the misalignment. Let me know if you've got any questions. I'd love to help you get what you need, make the decision that's right for you, and I'd see you there. Lots of love.